So when we were doing the UGA Sports Watch Along show with Jim Donnan during Georgia and Georgia Tech, we kept getting this commentary. When's Georgia going to wake up? And it started early with Georgia's defense giving up some plays that maybe you didn't expect that it would against Georgia Tech, a team that was down to its third string quarterback and rotating two quarterbacks. It was all kind of quirky. But what I'm going to tell you is that if you want to wake up a little bit faster than what Georgia did, you can do so with Jittery Joe's. That's jitteryjoes.com. That is a professional transition to our partner. You need to check out what they have going on. And I'm going to bring up this screen, which is our contest. You can enter. Look in the comments on the side here or look below in the description. You can enter to win Jittery Joe's National Championship Coffee. It's a limited edition. We've told you about it for a few weeks now, and you can win some free Jittery Joe's coffee. Sign up here. Again, that link is in the description in the comments below. I love Jittery Joe's coffee. This is one of those products I've used long before we were partners with them, and it's just an institution in Athens, and we like partnering with brands that are just that. Northeast Georgia's favorite coffee is Jittery Joe's, jitteryjoes.com. All right, Brent, that defense that we're looking at here, I'm going to be a little frank and say that the clips that we pulled, it's probably going to come off a little bit harsh I don't think it's fully indicative that Georgia's defense got better pretty quickly in this game. But we pulled the clips that we did to show, hey, a really good team has some things to exploit if Georgia continues to play this way in the plays that we're showing here.
And the key is, can somebody do it for 4 quarters? They made, 5, 6 plays. They had a few that they could have made that they dropped that were big, and one of those we're going to show. But it's, can a team do it for 4 quarters? Because I think that's kind of the beauty now of Georgia's defense, is that it's kind of it's true to me. It's truly mastered the team defense dynamic, where you, for the most part, maybe other than one person we're going to highlight today, you have no minuses on the field. Thus, there's nothing. There's no unit. There's no, hey, the linebackers are on the whole week, or the line, or the secondary. No unit is weak, so all of that stuff can't be exploited. Thus, it just takes consistent, great QB play, great wide receiver play, all those things. And I don't know that there's a team that exists in college football that can do it for 4 quarters this year.
One thing that, if people have been watching Film Don't Lie, that I had this in my back pocket because you mentioned it like a month ago when it was surprising to me. And I mentioned it to Jim Donnan and Rodney Nabolsi. As Georgia Tech was targeting Keely Ringo early and often, I pulled out that stat that you've told me for a while, that this season, pretty much all season, that he's been targeted more than Kamari Lassiter, which still blows my mind.
He's targeted the most in this game. 9 targets, and I think he allowed 3 receptions. I will say the 3 pass breakups he had, one of which was borderline. He didn't even realize he did it. I think it just kind of hit him. But that was the most he's had at any point in any game in his career. And that was the first actual pass breakups where he knocks the ball down this season. He's had a couple of interceptions, but still, yeah. But anyway, it started off with this one where it's just kind of like a few first downs, and all of a sudden, okay, we wake up, and then no, Tech's going to go for it on 4th down.
And took a shot, Javon Bullard.
And Bullard, unfortunately, got the kiss of death from PFF's Twitter account earlier this week because they tweeted that he had the most coverage snaps without allowing a 15-plus yard reception. It was like 270 coverage snaps or something like that. And then, of course, this happens on the first drive of the game.
Let me ask you this, because this is quite subtle. So he starts here, and then before the ball snapped, he does take a step and a half forward to play a little bit tighter. Does that make a difference here?
No, I don't think it makes a difference. I think what makes a difference for him is when he breaks and then the receiver breaks. I think you can see it the second angle of it.
I'll go to the tighter angle.
Is right now when he has to open his hips, he elevates his chest and gets sort of stood up a little bit, where he's nice and low. And when he twists and turns his hips, he kind of gets up and a little upright too much. Like if you see Lassiter
as he's going to that right foot, his shoulders kind of rise up.
Versus compared to Lassiter at the bottom of the screen, low as he turns his hips and starts to run. And that little against him, by the way, this guy was a baller. 8 for Tech, McCollum. He made plays very quick. Now, the interesting thing when you think about this week with LSU is that's not a smaller, sort of quickish player in the slot for LSU. It's Booty. It's occasional Booty. So like it's a different type of player. So whereas this is more similar matchup, and the guy just beat him with quickness. Going to be more of a physical matchup this week for Bullard in the slot, but still, yet By the way, phenomenal throw. I mean, dropped it in the bucket. This guy, Zach Gibson, Gibson made some great throws. Had 4 big time throws in the game. We're going to see another one later.
4th and 9. I was a little bit surprised to see Georgia kind of stack the box here and say, if you're going to beat us at the corner, like, well, that's going to be where you get us. You're going to have to take the shot here.
I mean, and a lot of times you think our guys on the outside are better, and we're going to get to you before you can beat us. And they just, like, when he released the ball, he's just starting into the get the vertical part of his route. Just a great throw,
For
great
about
play.
3 plays, Gibson was in that Calzada zone.
Yes, he was.
And then he came back down to earth.
Yeah, well, and then this one was just ew.
So this is the other quarterback. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I didn't spend an off season like I did with
Pumachan, I think is what they said on the TV on the thing.
Thank you, sir. This is you know your personnel. Like, he's not going to throw this.
He's 100% running this ball. As soon as he comes in the game, this is 100%. He's giving it or running it. That's it. And Lassiter's like, hey, I get sort of where is he going, but I also think there's an element of him that probably thinks the guy's standing by himself in the back of the end zone because he sees the QB coming out and he's like, oh no, crap, that guy's. I left my guy. He's maybe standing in the end zone. The one that bothered me the most was 32 because you got no business peeking inside. If you look, he's right there, peeks inside, and he's beat. The instant you peek inside right there with at least a decently athletic quarterback, you're beat.
I mean, and I mean, he hasn't been great about getting off blocks or anything either. We have our qualms with some of the play from Mr. Chambliss, and frankly, I think it's just a spot where after the injuries that Georgia's had, you just don't have a whole lot of experience there. And I think it's a little too late in the season to be doing some experimental stuff. Though you and I had a conversation last night of like, you think Sherman could be an edge rusher one day, MJ Sherman, because he's just. I
mean, if he's not yet, he's not going to be.
Yeah, now's not the time to try. I'm not like trying to insinuate that. I'm just saying, when Nolan Smith, the drop off behind him has been pretty severe.
Well, and this is an instance where you got both those edge guys, Beal and Chambliss, on the field right here, and it's just a bad play. It is, and it allowed a touchdown. This one was huge.
Oh, Lady Luck was with Georgia.
I mean, because Chris Smith bites on the toss and has to recover. I mean, just think about the situation if he catches this ball and he's likely going to get tackled, maybe in the 35, maybe he breaks and a little bit, who knows, but we'll say he gets in. He's obviously going to be inside the 40. And Texas just scored. Georgia's went 3 and out, and they're inside the 35 again. Sphincters get a little tight, especially in the stadium. And luckily, he dropped this one.
So, who's supposed to be covering this dude? Because this is lots of space.
This is
and lots of people looking this way.
And that's, I think it's just eyes in the wrong place, eye discipline. And I think that's what LSU is going to test Georgia with this week. And we're going to get into that on another one. But that's what that's the word of the week, I think, for, like we talked about with Tennessee. What was the word of the week? Communication. I think the word of the week this week is discipline. Specifically, eye discipline, playing your assignment.
In terms of knowing your personnel, this would be Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son, true freshman at LSU. And he's really good. He's not going to drop this ball if he's wide open in the middle of the field. He had 2 critical catches against Alabama that helped LSU win that game.
Yep.
Yes, this is
special teams.
defense, but we throw some special teams love in here. I know it's close to your heart. And Lad McConkey, what a game he had, just overall, but special teams in particular.
But what's amazing about this play is one of the guys that he originally makes miss is the guy who makes the tackle. All right, so stop it when he gets the ball, and I'll go through because I actually did. This is just kind of give you a behind the curtain of what special teams grading is all about. So right here, the punt, by the way, is graded based on where it hits, not where he catches it. So that the punt was not good. Catches it. This makes one guy miss. So that is an opportunity miss for this guy to make a tackle. Boom. Good stuff for good bonus points for Lad. Next guy comes through. Right there. Opportunity missed. Then big cut.
This guy
opportunity
here, right?
missed. Yeah, well, he's
Or are you saying
broken.
both of them?
All three. So he's made all three guys miss. He gets credit for all that. The guy that you circled on the left there that's kind of still on his feet, not the one that fell to his ground. Not the one that fell to the ground.
Just a moment.
But yeah, right. 24, I think it is.
Yeah.
Right there, that guy. That's who makes the tackle. Like, so because he didn't fall on the ground and stays on his feet, there. Right, boom, right here. Trezin Marshall to your right. Coming in. That's a free blocker. He comes and clears the lane. Good marks for him. And then just the burst from Lad. Outside of scoring, if he just scores, that's the only sort of next sort of level in terms of grading for him. But 24 does a good job of staying in the play and sprinting down and making the tackle. I think it was 24.
Yeah.
Those numbers are insanely difficult to read.
Harder to read than the I did PA for softball one time, and the player's hair would be over the numbers, and that was always not fun because you're just like, man, I hope I'm at the right spot in the order.
But if you wonder why that's why he even with the muffs earlier, some of the issues he had, that's why he's there. Because I don't know the quickness and speed combination. I don't know who else on the roster does what he does right here. On the roster. I mean, maybe Dylan Bell, just from what I've seen. But I don't know who else.
Because even people are going to say Arian Smith, but Arian Smith doesn't have this lateral movement.
No. And that's something to think about when you think about playmakers for Georgia. Who on the roster does what Lad does in this play?
Let me ask you, if Rose just makes a different decision, I don't know the right one here. I've never coached special teams. Is this a break? Like, should he try to preserve lane out here to maybe see if McConkey? I don't know if it turns into more. You may not know either based on this angle.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard at that point. And Brent makes a good call. Malachi, he might be one. But I was thinking offensive guys. Defensive guys, I'm sure there might be a couple actually that potentially could. But still yet, of offensive guys, I don't know who else it is.
We didn't include the Lad's tip to himself on punt coverage to where the ball was going to go in the end zone. He jumps up, tips it to himself, downs it. Just because we all saw it, I don't know there's much more we can add other than, holy crap, what a play.
When, by the way, other than the punt itself, that's what he got positive grades for that. Like he gets rewarded from a PFF standpoint for that on special teams play.
Donkey, weapon. All right, back to defense.
Corner blitz. And again, just great throw. And by the way, that guy's huge. 6'7", I think 240. Plays on the outside a lot. Like he's gonna find a spot on the roster at some point, I think, in the NFL, just because of the size factor, and someone's going to try to turn him into a tight end, but a true tight end. But you blitz and you don't get to the guy, they're gonna take shots on you. And I think that's what, especially LSU this week, you're gonna see them take shots. Like if you look at a lot of their tape, it's quick fake, and I'm going to take a shot because they know Daniels they got good, solid receivers, but also, I think Daniels is more of a true one read guy. And if not, let's make something happen. And all right, when you have that, what do? Well, you make it one read and take deep shots.
I thought really all the quarterbacks. I thought all the quarterbacks in this game were pretty well coached. When you see a blitz coming, if you can do it, throw into it because there's going to be some space behind it. It's 101. And I thought Stetson Bennett did the same thing on the other side, especially with some passes. I think Dajan Edwards comes to mind for one of them, just a little dump off pass. I know Kenny Mack had one too, just throwing behind the blitz. And then, but this one, I think you can see a tick of inexperience with Starks on. It's not a full double move, but it's pretty darn close.
We'll stop and go.
Yeah, just stay on the outside there on the side.
And that's when you think about offenses. and we've talked about this really for the last 2 years, and like go back to South Carolina at home with the deep shots that they got to Josh Van. Great, you hit one. Can you consistently do this for 4 quarters against this defense? I don't know that that's possible, short of one guy making it possible. And
need to give a shout out to Starks.
He also wears number 13.
Need to give a shout out to Starks because early in the year, teams are trying this a lot on him, and they've tried it less and less and less up until about this game. It's been pretty rare over the last month.
Yep.
2nd and 10 here, late in the first half.
Just another ooh.
And this is not the running quarterback.
Exactly. I mean, with all due respect to Mr. Gibson here, Jaden Daniels is a bit of a different animal from a running perspective.
Sorry, Chaz. Hate to do it to you, but
so the part of this that, I mean, twofold. One, this has happened to him about 3 or 4 times this year, and it's he goes too high. He always tries to get these guys. Like he tried to Levis one time down near the goal line against Kentucky. Tried to hit him too high, and you're sliding off when you hit these guys. Big physical quarterbacks. Daniel's a different animal, obviously, but the biggest thing for me with this is the stunt itself. All right, go back to right before he breaks the pocket. So this is just a common twist game that Georgia does. Look at all the attention, by the way. Tech did a phenomenal job of paying attention to the right people. Jalen Carter, the center turned to Jalen Carter, I think 95% of the game. And they gave help to his side all the time. So if you're the other side, what can you not allow here? And I think this is probably what's going to be he gets caved inside. Now there's a lane to run versus staying sort of through that guard, or at least not being able to have the quarterback pick a side and there be a lane, but he gets caught inside and pushed inside. That can't happen. Because once the missed tackle, great, but the key there, or not the missed tackle, not great, but the key is don't allow that lane. Come through there, twist in, boom. If you're going to go, you better beat that guy. If you're going to go and give, sort of lose that lane discipline from a pass rush standpoint. Anyway, that wasn't good. Jaden Daniels, different animal.
Positive effort. I think this is Zion Logue here, just chasing down from the backside. We used to see Jordan Davis do this a lot. Devontae Wyatt would do this. I like that. I'd love seeing the interior defensive lineman chase people that are clearly past them. I mean, the size and speed, you're not going to be catching this guy, but he makes every effort to do so. Didn't quite get there, but to me, that's a sign of the effort.
Yes, you want to see that all the time, and that's one of those ones where that's the expectation. That level of effort is the expectation. And
I don't even know if that gets an attaboy. I think it just gets, hey, you're doing your thing.
This is what it looks like, fellas. This is what it looks like. This is what we all should be doing. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. 3rd quarter now. Georgia's got a bit of a lead offensively at this point and forces a fumble.
JDJ, highest graded player in the game. He's kind of the past few weeks dropped down from a grading perspective, not played as well, been picked on in coverage a little bit. And this game, I think almost over 90 in terms of PFF grade, but just very physical, hat right on the ball. Big play. I think this one's the only one. They just got a field goal out of this, I think. But still, at that point, you don't want to give them any. This was right after Brock's shoestring catch, too.
He got low.
Stackhouse making plays. Beal, good job getting on the football because Lassiter was just trying to pick it up.
So you want to know the thing that I noticed in the rewatch that I didn't notice watching it live was, all right, shout out to, let me back it up. This is a 2-angle thing here. So umpire here comes in to do what they're all trained to do, which is let's begin to, pull the pile apart, see where that football is. So you see him standing at this point, kind of shoving through, and then he gets lost in there.
Oh, he's on the ground.
Like he gets lost in this just amoeba of Georgia and Georgia Tech football players. And then they have to help him get up. He's part of the entangled mess. That's effort. I hope someone I believe these were SEC referees, right? I hope someone in the SEC office gives him a bit of a raise, because that's not a fun place to be, because all those men have helmets and pads.
That's the
and
part
you
that
don't.
it's the helmets and like the face masks, like there's easily get your fingers broken there.
Tries to shove his way in there. Oh no. All right, let me move on.
That's
to
a
the
bad
next
place
thing.
to be, by the way. That's a very bad place to be.
This is 3rd and 15, fourth quarter. You with me, Brent?
Yes.
There you go. Okay. The 3rd and 15 play, fourth quarter.
Just marvel at what you have on the field right here that's causing this havoc. In addition to MJ Sherman, you've got true freshman Jalen Walker, true freshman Barry Alexander, true freshman Mike L. Williams, and Williams led the team in QB pressures, had 4 QB pressures plus this sack. So, that's a fun little place to be when you think about the talent that's young and going to grow along the defensive line.
Yeah, it's not even a look at the future. It's a look at the present in a lot of ways, because a lot of these guys are playing anyway, and some of the others just,
yes,
whether it be depth or, I mean, we talked about with Chambliss, but like, look, all right. So do you remember a couple of years ago when there was a photo of Elijah Holyfield? My friend Logan Booker took this. It was at one of the practices.
It got blown up, right?
Yeah, and like his arms are just obscenely big anyway. But then someone decided, you know what? I need to Photoshop bigger arms onto Elijah Holyfield. I kind of want to do that on Sherman here, where it just, because like this guy is ripped.
He's got some guns.
I saw him in fall camp, and I was like, I mean, I had to kind of like, because I don't think he was like wearing full jersey or something. And I was like, who the heck is that? Because even in this field of giants, 8 is just a massive human being. And I have no idea what his football future holds. But I know, just as like, hey, I'm 6'3". I need to drop probably like 40 pounds. This guy was like incredible.
Mr. Olympia, or whatever that thing
I
used
mean,
to be.
Mr. Everything. And if I saw that coming at me on a football field, which, by the way, there was a hold here that was not called. There were a few of these, but if you want to find a textbook hold,
there was a lot of officiating issues, we'll say, in this game. Yes.
Yeah. Didn't come to fruition there. But overall, points well taken. Georgia's future is bright on defense, and the fact that level of talent is what's behind this group, which is relatively new in itself, based on what was lost to the NFL last season. You see the hope for Georgia in future years, because there is a shot that in the cycle of Georgia defenses, this is one of the more inexperienced ones that you'll find in Athens.
Very much so. And also, I think the offensive tape, I would almost kind of burn in a way for this game, certain parts of it, never look at it again. The defensive tape and how, like, what Georgia Tech does is very similar to some of the things that LSU does. LSU has a lot better players. So yeah, that's the intriguing part. But anyway, we get offense. Offense next?
We'll do offense next here live on our channels, Facebook and YouTube. Do us a favor and subscribe or like the page if you're on Facebook.
Thumbs up.
It really does help us out a lot to continue to grow this audience. We put a lot of work into this. We put a lot of time into this. The play of the game that you saw come in on the channel at 8 o'clock. We did that last night, and we have LSU previews that we're doing that will come up later in the week. We're really proud of how we've grown this channel. It's the largest YouTube channel on the internet for Georgia Bulldogs coverage, and that's been something that we've been a part of from nearly the beginning, and we want to keep doing more stuff like this because I like telling jokes and drawing bigger muscles on already muscled people, and we get to do that because Jittery Joe said we like your jokes and we like your football analysis. Maybe not in that order, but I really don't care. I just heard we like, and I'm
just
like,
my
cool.
Jokes. My jokes are the best.
Maybe Roddy says his are the best, and I say mine are the best. And Coach Donovan says his are the best.
Coach Donovan has got some good ones.
He's just a little more crude than I am. If I want to go blue, I can do it too. Bob Saget did it, one time. I can do it myself. Thanks everyone for watching the defensive look at Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Coming up here in about 5 minutes, if you're watching live, we will have Georgia's offense some things that went well, some things that didn't. And then later on, probably on Monday, we'll have Georgia versus LSU preview for the SEC Championship. Thanks, Jittery Joes. Go check them out, jitteryjoes.com. You can also enter to win free Jittery Joes. That link is in the description, also in the comments. I think on my screen it's to the right. I think it's on the right wherever you're watching as well. Maybe if you're on your phone, you have to tab something. I don't know. The link's in multiple places. You can get it there. I'll tweet it out too. Brent, they can follow you on Twitter at Brent Rollins, PhD. Follow me at Dayne Young, and we will see you next time.